Hey everybody, I am right on time. Well, dang, 1 minute late. 11:01. Welcome to my kitchen once again. I want to apologize again for, I know I have not been going live as much as I promised I would. Maybe I never promised it. But anyway, intended to. I know. Road to hell, paved with good intentions. But here we are. And I just want to confess, I really do talk myself out of it so much. I have a plan, and I have a ton of reasons why I don't need to. Just a ton. So, I apologize. I spend a lot of time apologizing to you. Anyway, cabbage casserole today. This is, I used the new mix and chop spatula to chop this up because I was going to be draining the hamburger meat, and this is some hamburger that I found in the little sale bin, so it was marked down, and it's the cheap hamburger anyway. But you guys, if you've been to the grocery store lately, you know that there's no such thing as cheap hamburger anymore. So this is 80/20, which is not something I usually buy, but I'm going to show you how to put some taste back into it. Hey Sharon, good morning Vanessa. So I'm just gonna drain. I've already cooked this down. It's about 2 pounds, probably not quite. It's probably not a pound now after I cooked it all down. And I'm just gonna drain most of this grease off to get that yucky. The fat equals calories. I know fat usually equals flavor, but in the case of cheap hamburger meat, doesn't always equal flavor. But we're gonna put some flavor back into it. So I'm just draining as much of the fat off as I can, and if you wanted to take more off, you can just run it under some hot water in your sink, and that would even get more of that grease out of there. But I'm just gonna leave a little bit. Hope everybody's doing good. We had that little fake fall for a little bit. Hey, Sharon, this pan, I absolutely love this pan too. It's very reminiscent of the old 12-inch family skillet that PC had back in the day. Mine was probably 15 years old when Dalton left for A&M, and he took that with him, and I believe he's still using it. But it's a little bit deeper than that pan, but I think it's just as wide. I think in the catalog it says, I think it says 10 inches, but this is it's a very generous sized skillet, and I love it. Let me just pour the rest of this out. I'm gonna use my bean can over here. Get rid of the rest of this grease. Not at the sink, in the bean can. Now, keep y'all's pans looking nice. You know, you wanna get all those dribbles off of it. But I'm just gonna give it a quick wipe with paper towel, and then get our veggies going. And it's not all the way off. My little wicks. Okay, but yes, it is. I love it. Has a lid. And I think it comes either in the set or by itself. I'll have to check on that. So I meant to have this chopped up, but I was more concerned with getting on when I told y'all I would be on. Just chopping up an onion, and everybody does cabbage casserole. You know, you really, I guess you don't even need the hamburger meat. I've done it with just cabbage and onions, bell pepper, seasoning, tomatoes. But we love cabbage. We love cabbage just by itself, sauteed, cooked down, smothered down with bacon. It's cheap. It's pretty easy to grow when, you know, you have some rain. I haven't even set up my fall plants. Anybody else? Sharon had a wonderful garden this year. I kept an eye on it. It's beautiful. Hey, Jan. Good to see you watching this morning. I hope y'all are doing okay. Joellen. Real quick, like I say, and I'm just using my knife to run through all of this. I I got one big bell pepper. Brookshire's also had their bell peppers 3 for $1 this week. So I got several of them. Put some in the freezer. We use a lot of bell pepper, just like we do onion. You know, Holy Trinity. Just trying to get them chopped up. A rough chop, about the same size so they'll cook evenly. Go ahead and get my pan heating up again. Like I say, there's a little bit of hamburger. Normally, if that was lean meat, if that was lean burger, I would just cook it all together. And we just want to kind of brown it because I'm going to put it in the rock crop in the slow cooker stand on warm. So like I say, this is our supper. So I don't want it to cook all the way. It'll finish cooking in the rock crop. Then it'll be ready for us in the evening. Not going to add any other oil or butter or anything like that right now because I have that little bit of a hamburger grease in the bottom of that. Okay, we'll get those going while we chop our cabbage. Picked up a cabbage also at Butcher's, and I cooked part of it last night with some purple cabbage that I had on hand and an onion. So I'm just going to cook. I thought, well, let's just do cabbage casserole today. I'm going to say I found that burger was down in the sale aisle, you know, when it's going out of date that particular day. And by out of date, it just means put it in the freezer or cook it today. So we're cooking it. I'm actually going to put half of it in the freezer. I go all the way down to the core, and then I'll snack on this. Boys used to fight over that. The core of the cabbage. Same thing with the cabbage. I want it about the same rough chop. So, what are you guys having for supper? Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Pam. Good to see all you guys watching. Got broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. You know, we grew Brussels sprouts one year in the garden. We were only successful 1 year. Those were the neatest plants when they made fruit. The coolest little, I had no idea what to expect. I just put the plants in the ground. And I've tried a couple of times since to grow them. We were not successful. The plants did fine, and then just a few little Brussels babies came on the stalk, but not like we had that success that 1 year. And it was out in the field. It wasn't even in the raised bed. I'm ready though. Ready to put something else in the ground. Got some sad little herbs out there. They're just hot and tired. I think that's what's going on with the mayhaw trees and most of the trees on my walks. I've noticed they just look tired. I don't know if the fall is actually making the leaves turn color or just the extreme heat for so long they're just tired. Hey Mia, good to see you. Hi Debbie. Debbie, I went out to Keith and Amber's the other day and you were walking back from your post office box. From your mailbox, and you look so good, lady. What are you doing? It looks like you lost a few pounds. As a matter of fact, in a double take, I wasn't sure it was you. Just giving this a stir. And like I say, I'm not cooking this all the way through. Just want to soften them up a little bit because I'm slow cooking them the rest of the day. Add all of this cabbage in. Look at this, how much this pan holds. Isn't that crazy? I love the skillet. I love the color. And the nonstick, fabulous. Fabulous. Rich cross. I didn't put any seasoning in the ground beef when I was cooking it because I knew it was going to wash out with the fat when I drained it off. So I saved it to season after I got that out. Now, to the ground beef, I'm going to add a large can because we're stretching that grocery dollar these days. This is a large can of black beans. I know, you're thinking black bean and cabbage. Promise, it's good. It's good. And by large can, I mean the 28 ounce. Actually, it says 1975. 1 pound. 1 pound of black black beans. And, you know, to your taste. And then to put the flavor back in the ground beef, I'm using Better Than broth. Now, if you have beef broth on hand, you could use that. That is popping there. Let's get the lid on that. Beef granules or beef broth or just, I like to use this Better Than broth because it's super concentrated and the flavor is so, so good. So this is going to give us a little burst of flavor back in that not so much flavor. Ground beef. 20, I think it's 80-20. But you know, when you're used to eating lean or venison or something with a lot more flavor, ground meat with a lot more flavor, that cheap, I just said it's not cheap anymore. That cheap ground beef is not all that. So, just stirring that in, the ground beef, the beans, and that concentrated beef broth. Better Than broth. Got it at Walmart. It's up on the top shelf. Now, you see that purple through there? That's just our leftover last night's leftover cabbage. I just threw it in there since it's another cabbage casserole. And I'm going to scoop out a part of this to use in another recipe. So, I don't really need all of this ground beef. Little be eating cabbage casserole for a week. He's not all about it. You can usually get away with it twice or so. That's about it. So, I'm going to put part of it up for another ground beef meal, whatever that might be. Some of the cabbage can go in. That's okay. Because most likely I'm going to do onions and bell pepper and whatever else I might decide to put in. Whatever else this might be. And this will just go in the fridge for now. I might stick it on over in the freezer if I need to. I talked to Dawson yesterday and he said, Mom, are you still cooking for an army? To, you know, adjust to just cooking for two. Pampered Chef used to have a cookbook. I need to see if I can find it. I know it's not in the catalog anymore. We don't carry cookbooks other than the digital ones and that little Season's Best that we put out. But it's like, it said, I think it was cooking for two. There were two of them. Hey, Bouquet. We're doing cabbage casserole. Actually, I'm just being silly right now. So, anyway, yeah, I gotta adjust the whole cooking because still cooking for lots of boys. Let me give this a mix around. Let's see, here it is. We'll stir. I know when I first came on, I didn't mention it, but I think y'all noticed I have this is one of our newer products. Now it says, when I was reading, yes, I read the directions. I was reading about it. It said not to put on the hot surface. It's a pot holder. So I was just trying it out, and so far, so good. Let's see. It goes like this on the side of your pan, bowl, whatever, to hold your utensil that you're using. They do their own thing for dinner during the week. That's nice, Sharon. I don't know. I really like cooking, but sometimes, you know, we just have a slim size shake. You don't know how to cook for an army. Well, I still cook a bunch. I guess that's why I love meal prep, because it's a huge supper for maybe a couple of nights. You can just add another side to make it something else. Hey, Aunt Linda. Talking about cooking for an army, and I know Aunt Linda knows how to cook for an army. But if you put it in little containers, you could either put it in the freezer, recycle it another night, or stack it in the fridge for lunch. You know, one way or the other. Let me put this lid back on and get that sweated down again. Now for seasoning. We're gonna stir in some petite diced tomatoes. If I can get this can open. One of those little tabby things. And this can be crushed tomatoes, this can be stewed tomatoes, this can be Rotel tomatoes. It can be whatever tomatoes you have on hand. Just gonna get enough water to swoosh it around, get all the good stuff out of the bottom of the can. And now, because we like the crushed peppercorn, garlic with the cabbage, I'll go ahead and put the rest of that. It's a little over a tablespoon probably, but I also like the bell pepper rub. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there, same thing. And like I say, I didn't season the ground beef when I was cooking it because I knew that a lot of that flavor was just gonna be strained off with the grease. So now I'm putting the seasoning back into it. And we have that. Better than broth. That was about a tablespoon. This is about 2 pounds of ground beef. I probably took, I don't know, maybe a third of that out. Pretty good sized head of cabbage. And I'll write all of this. When I post the video, I'll go ahead and write everything down. Salt and pepper. 1 whole bell pepper. That was a pretty good sized bell pepper. And a whole onion. And that's what's sweating down in the pan. We got a can of petite diced tomatoes in here, and then that can of black beans. And really that's just stretching your protein. I find that if you mix black beans with beef or in any other recipe, rice recipe or something like that, I don't taste the black bean. To me, it just adds a filler. It adds a little extra protein punch. Now, when we fix our plate, I'm gonna sprinkle this everything bagel on the top of it. It's got a little bit of a crunch, but I'm not gonna put it in or on top while it's cooking today. Well, I found this the other day. I don't know if y'all go to H-E-B when they're doing tastes usually on Saturdays and Sundays afternoon. But we found this one in Mont Bellevue. I can get it open. Got it. Anyway, it's called, let's see, Lotus Kitchen Roasted Garlic. I'm not sure if I can pronounce that. Achar, A-C-H-A-R, 2 A's. Because it looks like some olive oil or something up on top. I'm going to give it a little stir. But she had some pork chops that she said she had finished with this. Holy moly, it was so good. So I thought I would do a couple of spoons in this because it's like roasted garlic, maybe a relish, or it says a condiment on the jar, but because it's garlic, thought it would be good to end with cabbage casserole. So I will let y'all know. But if y'all see that, definitely. And she used it like a baste, like smeared it over after the pork chops were done, and it was a pork tenderloin that was sliced into chops. Okay. Now, like I say, I don't want this to completely cook, sorry. Go ahead and mix all of this in. I just wanted it to cook down enough that I could stir it into that pot, because this is going to completely fill that pot. Now, if I were doing this right before supper, I'd go ahead and smother this down, mix it together, and then serve. But, like I say, I'm going to put it in the slow cooker stand. The aroma of cabbage cooking. Time to turn on all of the senses in the house. I think it needs to cook down just a little bit more. I'm going to leave that going. Okay, so I'm going to write all of this down and put it at the top. And then the directions can either be done stovetop if you want to serve it that night, or if you want to cook it all day, it can go into the crock pot. I'll put both of those. And some people even throw cheese on top and bake it in the oven. So that's an alternative. You know, I tell y'all all the time, make it your own, but I'll get you started. So listen, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. I love y'all and I appreciate you watching. Bye now.